Hello there. Today I want to talk about a theory that I have. Now, I want to clarify beforehand that I've got basically no real evidence for this theory, and I think it's plausible. I think it's very interesting, but I'm not too attached to it. I could be right, I could be wrong. So my theory is that maybe these things were weapons back in the day, or are based on some sort of weapon. So this sort of builds onto a video that I did about a year and a half ago where I tested one of these I tested this against a sling. I just never got around to making the second part of that. If you haven't watched that one, go watch that. This also builds off of a video I did just yesterday, so go watch that one too. Lacrosse was a military training game, right? Teach people how to be warriors. With that being the case, I find it unusual that the implement that they're using doesn't have any direct application in warfare. The skills to use this do not translate to sling. They do not translate to bow. Right? They don't translate to anything. Right? Now, I've heard some people talking about these things being stand-ins for war clubs, but I don't buy that. The upper rim of the lacrosse stick here, this is the most delicate part of it, right? You don't want to hit somebody with here, right? This is the analogy to a war club, the ball head. You don't want to hit somebody with this part because then you're more likely to break it. You want to hit somebody with the stick where it's strong, right? You want to hit them with the handle where it's thick, right? Maybe you want to hit them here, but again, that's a bit of a risk to your stick, right? You're also not hitting people in the head in lacrosse, right? You go around whacking somebody with these in the head, people are going to be getting killed, right? I don't really buy it. I don't really buy that lacrosse is training people to use these things like war clubs. And this does not translate to sling, and it doesn't translate to bow or any other weapon. Right? It doesn't translate to addle-addle. Right? I've heard some people making the comparison, but the skills are completely different. Right? With a lacrosse stick, you're swinging it like this. You throw it like a catapult. You're not just, one-handed, winding your arm way the heck back and then throwing it like you do in addle-addle. I want to talk about some of the advantages something like this might have as a weapon compared to a sling, because a sling is the most direct comparison, right? Something for throwing fist-sized rocks. So in my previous set of tests, I found that this thing is a little bit more accurate than a sling, and a sling throws a little bit further. Right? This thing is faster, the sling is a little bit more powerful. All in all, roughly comparable. Here's a couple of advantages that this thing has over a sling that a sling doesn't even compete in. All right, so first, this is a hand-to-hand weapon in and of itself. Right? Yeah, it doesn't have a ball head, and yeah, the tip is a little bit more delicate than it should be, but this is still almost 2 pounds of hickory, right? This one's like 1 3/4 pounds. Right? That's a lot of wood. It's a great big lever as well, right? So if I'm out throwing rocks with my sling, and someone gets up close, I gotta drop the sling because it's not any use, right? I gotta drop the sling and pull out my knife or some other sidearm that I've got carried on me. With this, even if it's not the deadliest thing, right? It doesn't have a really hard point of impact. You can still do somebody a lot of harm with this, right? Every lacrosse player I know, they've had broken bones from a stick check. Modern ones, they're using these really light aluminum carbon fiber sticks these days. Right? If you can break a rib with one of those, you can break a rib with one of these. Now, besides offending your enemy, you can defend yourself really well with one of these. Right? It's basically a short, thick quarterstaff. Right? I got my brother's Shinto stick from when he did karate. This is a weapon. You do defend yourself with one of these. I'd take the stick over this. This is a lot heavier. It's a lot sturdier. It's a little bit longer. Now, another advantage that one of these has over a sling is you can defend yourself at range. Right? That's what the game of lacrosse is, right? You reach up, you catch the ball. reach up, you catch the ball, you throw it back, right? You can't do that with a sling. So Johnny Slinger comes up against Johnny Lacrosse player. Johnny Slinger throws a rock. Johnny Lacrosse player catches it, right back. Slinger can't do anything about that. He's just got to Right, game of ping pong rocks. This thing beats a sling. Now I want to go over some of my textual evidence. I'm going to admit this is very shaky. Somebody was reading the Vinland Saga. Right? I think it was the Vinland Saga anyway. And, I've read bits and pieces of that, and they say they were attacked by the Skraelings with a catapult, some sort of catapult. Now, the fellow I was talking to, he was wondering if maybe the catapult doesn't refer to like a medieval catapult, because we don't have anything like that in the whole continent. He was wondering if maybe it refers to something like a lacrosse stick, or even just a big spoon that they were using to throw rocks, like a shovel. I find that a compelling answer, right? Because either they meant literally catapult, in which case it was just an embellishment, or they meant some tool that they'd never seen before, something they had no frame of reference for, something like a lacrosse stick. Now I've got another piece of evidence, and this one's scanty as heck because I can't find it. I can't bloody find it. Right? I was reading a story from some. I don't even remember the bloody culture. It was one of those people just west of Lake Erie, I think. Right? A lot of little ones there that I have such trouble remembering. The culture hero was Turtle, if that's of any use to you. It wasn't like turtled as in the animal. It was a hero named Turtle. Now in the story, his village is beset by giants, and he's going through and tricking them one by one and whittling down these giants one by one. Then he decides to play a game of lacrosse, right? All or nothing, right? If I win, you guys have to go away from here, and if you win, all of my people will just offer themselves up to you to be devoured. The giants say, okay, that seems easier than fighting you. And what the hero does, what Turtle does, is during the night he goes and he switches the ball, which is normally made of, it's got a soft wood core surrounded by hair, which is then covered with leather. That's what a ball is made of. He takes that, he unstitches it, takes out the hair and the wood core, and he puts a big round rock inside. So it's just a rock covered in leather. And he goes and he plays the game. And as he's playing, whips it at the lead giant's head. The giant drops dead. Right? Getting a stone flung directly into his forehead, that's going to kill you. Right? He goes through the battle one by one, and he just kills all of these giants by whipping the stone at them. Whipping the stone directly into the head. That doesn't mean it's related to war, but it does mean that even back in the day, these things were known to have the potential of being lethal. Right? The simple manufacture of the ball, that too is a bit of a hint, right? It would be much easier to just find a round stone rather than making a ball, right? Making a ball out of wood is hard. It's difficult to make anything perfectly round, right? But stones were recognized as being too lethal, so they made a purpose-built ball. In conclusion, I think these have a great deal of potential as historical weapons, right? I think it's totally plausible that they were used as such. I just don't really have anything to back that up with. Thank you for watching. This one's been a long time coming. I guess that's all. Ta-ta for now.